Hello, I'm Susan Krumdieck, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, and you have found the Transition Engineering Podcast, where we talk about how to make the energy transition work. Welcome to the Energy Transition Podcast. This is our introductory podcast. It's giving an overview of the general topic and how it is that we're going to flip our perspective and understand the problem of engineering the energy transition and making it work. I am here with a couple of students today, and they're going to be with us for quite a few of our first podcasts. I've got Belen from Madrid. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Belen, a Spanish student. I study mechanical engineering, and right now I'm doing an exchange program in Munich.
Thanks. And I also have Philip. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Phil. I'm living near Regensburg, Bavaria, and I'm studying building services engineering here in Munich.
All right, so we have engineers in the room. And that's funny because we are going to talk about sustainability, sort of. We're going to talk about unsustainability, actually, because that's the problem. If you do some Googling, as we've been doing, just to have fun, and you look for the term sustainability, put that into a Google search. Look at the images that you get. Look at the websites that you get. And if you're an engineer, which is who we're hoping to reach with this podcast, if you're an engineer or an engineering student, I challenge you to figure out how what you're looking at informs the work that you might do as an engineer. And that, we think, is the problem. So in our podcast, we are going to be looking at what is unsustainable about the successfully engineered systems that we all work on. And then we're going to learn some processes and methods and an approach to actually take that on and start to change it. So to get started today, we are going to look at a story. And when you tune into this podcast, you're going to see that I use stories. Because a lot of the problem of transition is recognizing that the future is not like the past, and that the way that we thought about things in the past just really isn't working out anymore. And we've got to really get innovative and start to think about things differently. Our little story here starts with a bit of time travel. Is that okay, guys?
Yeah, perfect.
You guys are going to get good at time travel, I promise. And the time travel we're going to do today is back. We're going to go backwards. And I will go with you so that you feel safe. I don't want to abandon you in the past. It would make a great movie, but I'm going to go with you. We are heading back in time to about the turn of the century. And boom, we find ourselves on the deck of a ship, the biggest, most luxurious, fastest ship that has ever been built. Great place to be, yeah, guys?
I know where this is going.
And we are on a journey that is going to set a new record for the time that it takes to get from Europe to New York. And we are going to do it in style. There's going to be parties. It's going to be comfortable. It's going to be great. And we are on, not only that, we are on a ship that has been designed to be unsinkable. So as we cross the North Atlantic, there is nothing to worry about. We have all the modern technology and engineering at our disposal. And the nautical engineer, the guy who designed that unsinkable ship, is on the ship with us. So maybe we'll get to meet him. Yeah. Now, you might have figured out that the only problem with this whole thing, now that we've left, we can see the shore receding into the distance. Now that we've left the port, is that we are on the Titanic.
Oh.
Wow.
So the question of the day is, we could have a very enjoyable journey for about 4 days and then go down with the Titanic.
I bet it is, yeah.
Or we could try to do something. Right. Oh, what would we do? I think that maybe the first reaction that people might have finding out that they are on the ship of the Titanic is to search their mind for what they know about this, right? Because it turns out we already know what will happen. And that's a debate that we're having in our society a lot right now is, well, how do you know for sure what's going to happen? You can't know the future. Well, I have a few really clear facts about the future that I'm facing right now. I am on a boat that is going to sink, and it is going, 1,500 people are going to die, and about 700 are going to live. And it's going to hit an iceberg, and people are only going to have a matter of, a couple of hours to try and figure out what to do. And I also know from reading the history in the National Geographic article that they only had about enough boats for about a third of the people who were on the ship.
Yeah.
So I know it's not going to go well. I could maybe raise a warning and say, we should get ready to use the lifeboats or something, but that won't help.
Yeah.
So that first reaction that you have, the gut reaction, might be, I'm going to go stand next to the lifeboats. And I'm going to make sure that I get in. It might work.
It's a very egoistic way to look at things, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Think about yourself first.
So think about yourself first, yeah, and not worry about the others. That's not a very good start.
Okay, you want to take a high road, do you?
Yeah, we should try to save the whole ship,
Okay.
not only yourself, right?
All right. So how would we save the whole ship? Like I said, we know what's going to happen. We know that this ship the lookout is going to see the iceberg. It's in the middle of the night, almost midnight, when they spot the iceberg. And it is huge.
Yes.
And he's going to send the warning. They're going to try and steer around the iceberg as hard as they can. They do everything they can, and they still slam right into it, open up the side of the ship, and it is down in a matter of less than a couple hours.
Yeah.
So we know what is going to happen. We have perfect knowledge. What are we going to do? We know from reading history that the operator of the telegraph, the communications operator, has actually gotten, or they are going to get, 14 different messages from other ships warning them that there are giant icebergs in the shipping lane right now. So we, just like the scientists, the climate change scientists, there's somebody on this ship who knows what the dangers are. They know that there's something really bad in front of them.
Yeah.
So could we get that operator to maybe up his game in communication and try and explain better to somebody about what the problem is, that there's these big icebergs? Do you think that would work?
Yeah, he could go to the Navigator and tell him, I got the messages, we are in danger, please change the course.
Right. And we know that he actually recorded those messages and sent and passed on the information. So maybe it's about how he's giving his information. So again, kind of like the climate scientists, they have this problem of communication. How do you actually tell people what the problem is that you're seeing and why it relates to you and what you should do about it? And maybe that's the problem. Maybe he doesn't really have an idea of what you should do about it. Yeah. It seems like what you should do about it, not hit the iceberg.
That would be a goal.
First and foremost, that would
thing first. Yeah.
So we have a clear objective for our project is to not hit the iceberg.
Yeah.
We know that the ship is going to slam into the iceberg, that they didn't have time to steer around it, and that they headed right for it. So if we could get this ship to slow down, they might miss the iceberg. Yeah. If we could get the ship to change course, to go a little bit south, they wouldn't hit the iceberg.
Exactly.
So that's our mission. That's what we're gonna do. The communications operator can back us up. He has the same information we do about the danger. Now we have knowledge about the future. So maybe we go get the communications operator, and he's a little surprised that we know what he has been hearing on the radio. But we say, look, this is really, it's a dangerous situation. Would you come with us to the Navigator and explain to them that this, there's this danger? And the communications operator says, well, actually, I have to stay here and keep listening to the radio, right? I have to keep taking data. That's my job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go talk to the Navigator anyway then. So the Navigator, when we go find out, the person who is mapping out the progress of this boat, what they're watching, what they're looking at really carefully is that this boat is exactly on the plan to get to North America the fastest ever. And that is the plan, and they are making sure that it's sticking to it. So we have to try and convince them to change the plan. And kind of like the economists that we work with in our time, they are not really that interested in changing the plan.
They just want to get over the pond as fast as possible.
Well,
right?
they've got that one
It's a job.
Yeah, that one job.
Yes.
And the economists today in our world, their one job is economic growth, right? How to increase wealth, and all the good things will happen as long as the economy keeps growing. Don't deviate from that course.
Exactly.
And accelerate faster if you can.
Yeah. As fast as possible. Fast is good.
Fast is good.
Yeah.
So the Navigator isn't really paying attention to us that much. He wants to keep going
And
on the
sticks
course
to his
they've already
plan,
said. Stick to the plan.
Yeah.
And besides that, if he put forward a change to that plan, people would laugh at him. That's not the way it works.
Yeah.
All right. So definitely, if we're thinking about who on this ship has the authority to change the direction and to call for a slowdown of the boat.
Yeah, that one's the captain.
The captain. He could do it. So just like our political leaders, it's not a surprise that most people focus on politicians. We have to get the politicians to understand about climate change. We have to get them to take action. We have to get them to do something. And that's is that going to work out for us?
Well, we can try to speak to them and to explain them that if we continue that path, then a disaster is going to happen.
Right. And the captain, number one, we might have a little bit of a hard time getting in to see the captain. Not everyone gets to see the captain. But maybe we can find a way. We represent the Navigator. I don't know. We got to come up with something, some way for them to listen to us. We could write a letter or something. But I also know something about this captain. The captain of the Titanic had hit icebergs before.
No way.
Many times.
Mm.
Yes. Hitting an iceberg did not mean your ship was going to sink.
Yeah.
Because they're designed to hit icebergs. And our ship was designed to be unsinkable. So he might not be that worried, even if we tell him.
Yeah.
But it's a really big iceberg. The risks are really high.
It's a bigger one.
Bigger.
Than he's ever hit before.
Yes. Extreme. Catastrophic. Record breaking.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah.
Right? All those words we are now using for climate change.
It's a great metaphor.
Yes. Well, okay, if it doesn't work out with the captain, we know that somebody invested a lot in this boat, in this ship. And they want to have the ship make lots of crossings back and forth. And that's the owners and investors of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
If this ship hits that iceberg, they're going to lose their property.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe we can get a telegraph message to the owners and tell them about the risk. And give them, because think about it, if they told the captain that they wanted him to slow down, that it's okay on this trip to go slower,
Of course.
then we'd be done.
Yeah.
All right. So we need the telephone number of some of the richest people in England so we can call them.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little bit difficult. And if we did get through, we might find out that they have plenty of insurance on this boat.
Right.
And that they paid for an unsinkable ship made with the most modern technology, and that they really aren't that worried.
They know the captain has hit a lot of icebergs, and they
Yeah.
know they have an unsinkable ship. Why should they be worried about? What should they be worried about?
Right. And they're not on the ship, so that maybe that sense of danger that we might be able to convince them with if we spoke really passionately, and we tried to convey how dangerous this is, maybe it wouldn't work on them.
Yeah.
Okay, so who else could convince the captain to slow down the ship?
Okay, the passengers maybe.
Okay, we know from looking at history and watching the movie that there are some really rich people on this boat.
Yeah.
And we could find them and explain to them the risk and that the water out there is really cold
Yeah.
and it's not going to be comfortable at all.
Yeah.
So let's go to the salon where they're having the party. There's an orchestra playing. They're having a great ball. It's a great time. And let's see if we can find some of the first class passengers and talk to them about it. Because if we could get some of them to go talk to the captain with us, I think we'd have a good time.
Good chance, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go to the door of the grand salon, and we're not actually dressed correctly.
Oh, true.
And the guy at the door is not letting us in.
Oh.
Right. Look at us.
Ah,
No smoking.
but we have
Sneakers.
information.
Yeah, that doesn't
We have
matter.
important information.
Doesn't matter in first class.
No. Oh dear. So we sort of are waiting around there trying to figure out what to do. And here comes somebody out. Here comes Leonardo DiCaprio. He's coming out of the... Right? He's a great guy. He knows all about causes and he's a good rich guy. So we follow him and we get him, hey, this boat is in danger of sinking, and we're trying not to sound insane. Could you come with us and talk to the captain about slowing down the boat?
Well, he bought a ticket for an unsinkable boat, so maybe he doesn't believe us.
Funny thing, Leonardo is really interested in climate change and really does things actually against this climate change, right?
Right.
But we picked the right one, but when we would have picked another one, he would say, when there is a danger, sure, somebody will take care of it, right?
Yeah.
But I paid for an unsinkable ship, so you can tell me everything, and who are you?
That's right. Who are you? What?
Who are you?
And why do you think this ship is going to sink?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and besides that, he's not that worried. He's a first-class passenger. He has paid to be taken care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though he might care, and he might be one of the more sympathetic guys we could find, he might, he wants to get back to the party.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know that, a lot of the first class passengers are amongst the survivors. The architect of the boat isn't. Maybe we could go talk to him and say, could you explain to people that while you said it's an unsinkable ship, it still could sink, that there is a chance? And he's like, no. I designed it to be unsinkable. You want me to tell people that my design, my new technology might not work the way they think it might? Kind of like, is solar gonna save us?
Doesn't work.
Of course it works, just maybe not for the problem that we have.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But okay, we also know from history that the economy class passengers, the poor people lower down, they're all going to die.
Yeah.
There's not very many of them that are going to make it. So I think we should go talk to them.
Yeah, let's do that.
We can scare them.
Go down.
Yeah, they're lot.
And they'll let us in. That's nice. At least they'll let us in to talk to them.
Yeah.
All right. So if we can talk to them, enough of them, and we can tell them the information that we know, and that the navigator knows, and that the communications operator knows, right? The communications operator has found out that there's really big icebergs in the way. Do you trust everyone else above you to do the right thing and not make a mistake? Or are there some of you who want to go make sure they don't make a mistake? And sure enough, we have some people who get activated. They take action. Not that many of them, but some of them.
Some of them, yeah.
And they write posters, slow down the ship, slow down the ship. And we go up and we occupy the bridge of the ship. And we're protesting, take action to save the ship. And sure enough, the captain calls the police, the security, to come and take them away.
Yes.
And because they're making noise and they're disturbing the other passengers, and we're in an unsinkable ship, so what are you complaining about?
Right.
Well, luckily we escape. And now we're hiding, wondering what are we going to do, because we don't want to die.
Right.
And we can save this ship. I know we can. We can save this ship. We're engineers. Did I mention that? It's us. We're engineers.
Yeah.
And we know what makes a ship move so fast.
Yes.
We know what makes it go fast. You guys have taken thermodynamics. You understand coal boilers.
Yes.
You understand steam power.
Yes.
Yeah.
What would actually make this ship slow down?
The engine.
Using less fuel?
Yeah.
Okay, how is the fuel getting fed into the engine? There are the engine room workers. So there's engineers down there making sure that the engines keep working.
Yeah.
There's guys shoveling coal in as fast as they can.
Yeah.
If we go all the way down to the bottom, we're for sure going to die with all of them. But on the other hand, we are really running out of time. And we have to slow down this ship. So let's go. We go down all the way to the bottom. There they are, shoveling away. Let's pull aside the engineers and let's have a chat with them. We know some information. We know that there are extraordinarily big icebergs out there. We know that even though this is a modern ship, it's the best there is. It has all this new technology to stop the hull from being breached. You're an engineer too, and you know that there's always a safety margin. There's always a place you should not go to. And slamming this ship full blast into an iceberg that is so big that it will not respond to this ship hitting it. It will not, we will lose kinetically. Kinetic energy will be turned into deformation energy of the side of this ship.
Yes.
And you know that there aren't enough lifeboats on this ship. Can we talk to you about giving the order to the guys shoveling the coal to slow down putting fuel in? Just till tomorrow.
We could do that.
Could happen, yeah.
But what would they say?
Well, engineer to engineer, they might understand that the people in the decision-making positions sometimes don't do the right thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes don't take the caution because of the economic forces, because of the price of the tickets that were sold, because of the advertising that this was going to be the most fashionable, fastest trip ever, because of the hubris, the ego of the captain and the designer and the owners. They know that sometimes huge mistakes happen.
Yeah. And the engineer,
So there's a chance we could convince them.
Yeah, but the engineer is also on the ship and he's only following the orders, right?
Yes.
He's getting paid to get the ship.
So like all engineers, we just do what we're paid to do.
Yeah. No, that's not true, but he's getting paid to get the ship over the pond as fast as possible,
Yes.
and he wants to make that happen.
And does he have a responsibility to the passengers to make sure that they make the trip, that they survive it?
Well, he does, actually.
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Except that in 1912, when we actually get on this boat, safety engineering hasn't been invented yet. So maybe he doesn't have the fully developed sense of responsibility that engineers now have to look at safety and risk and prevent what's preventable.
Right.
But we could do a quick lesson with him.
Right.
And I think he understands the problem. He understands that, yeah, things can go wrong. And he definitely understands that if they slowed down putting the fuel in, the ship would slow down. The only thing it seems like he has a problem with is that when we do get to New York safely, somebody's going to say, why did we slow down?
Right.
True.
Because he also knows he could slow the ship down in a way that it wouldn't even really be noticeable to the people dancing up on the top. And the third class passengers are sleeping because they're tired. They don't care. So they know they could actually do this without actually being found out. But, that isn't what they were being paid to do.
Right.
All right. So we do understand their dilemma of doing something on your own decision because you know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That is the dilemma we're facing. We have found the people who can save this ship.
We
How
have-
do we convince them to do it? Is it our perfect knowledge that will convince them?
No, it's not. It hasn't.
Yeah,
So-
not yet.
Not yet.
And it's getting really late. We really only have an hour or so left to slow this ship down. I tell you what, could we go back up and find Leonardo? Find that one rich guy who says, okay, look, we're going to tell him, look, that really giant iceberg that we say is there, at this point, you are going to see it. You're going to get a good look at it. So we promise you that in the rearview mirror, once we've made it around this thing, you will see why we were telling you that we really did not want to hit that thing.
Right.
And so if we could just find a few people who say they will support the engineers in doing this crazy thing we're telling them to do, that we're asking them to do, that we're imploring them to do because we don't want to go down, that might really help. I don't know that the captain is the one because that's just not his world.
Yeah.
He will sail the boat to New York. It will get there. And if it's not the fastest journey ever, then he'll do it again the other way, But he will have also seen the iceberg too.
Yeah.
You will.
And he might even, what he will do? He will take credit for slowing down that boat
Yes, of course.
and getting around that iceberg.
Yeah,
He's
of
the hero.
course.
He's the hero of
He's
the
the
day.
Yeah.
So actually, we don't have to worry about it. We've left it so late that we slow this boat down. Everybody will have a huge panic and go, "Oh my God!" And it'll be fine.
It'll be fine, but it takes a lot.
It takes a lot of courage right now. You know it? That's what it takes.
Yeah.
On that lowest deck, the engineers doing their job. It takes a huge amount of courage to do what needs to be done. Courage. There's a word that we will take forward with us because that's really where we're at. Knowing what you need to do and then actually doing it. That word courage is what it takes.
Yeah.
Now, it's easier if you have some partners in that, if you have a whole platoon of people who agree with you and are saying, yeah, we're gonna do this together. That helps. And even just a few people from different parts of the ship supporting you, that helps a lot too.
That helps a lot, yeah.
But the biggest thing is the courage to do it yourself. Understanding the science, understanding the situation, understanding the politics, understanding the economics, understanding the financing and the people and their behavior and their worries, and still doing what needs to be done, even though there's a lot of reasons why we can't do anything. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Fair enough, yeah.
All right.
But you also have to know that it takes a lot to change a course or to slow down a ship that is that big, right?
Yes.
With the technology of 1912. When you see the iceberg, it might be a little too late.
Yes, not a good idea to wait till we see it. We
Right.
want to see it and be able to steer around it
We,
because we're going slower.
yeah,
Yeah.
we want to have the right course or the right
We want to not hit
cut.
the iceberg.
the right speed.
That's right.
When we know we are on time and we
Right.
have the chance to get around it.
So we need to do some quick calculations about how much slower we need to actually be
Yeah.
putting the coal
Right.
in order to have enough. So we need to get right to the engineering, right to the calculations, and figure out what time it, because we do know when it hits, and back that up and figure out how much we need. And every minute we wait
Yeah.
is that much slower. We gotta that much more drastic of an action. So yeah, I think that this little story of the Titanic is a pretty good metaphor for where we are at and what it takes and what the actual problem is.
It is.
Yeah, don't hit the iceberg.
Don't hit the iceberg.
All right,
Slow down, change course.
That's
get
right.
around it.
slow down and change course. Have courage.
And get
Save
around
yourself. All right, save yourself by saving the whole ship. Good idea. Well, this is a pretty good start to our podcast project here. That was a story and it was fun, and it takes us into the realm that we're gonna have to explore a lot, which is how we park the impossible issues that we're looking at, unpack the different parts, and process our own reaction to that and our own communication with other engineers and with people who aren't engineers, and try and figure out how we're going to actually do what needs doing and how we're going to bring even more engineers into that part of the solution of not hitting the iceberg. Okay, and to do that, we are hoping that, having enjoyed our little podcast here, you will look for us at transitionengineering.org and look into this idea that there's an emerging field called transition engineering of people doing what it takes to make this transition work. And we will talk a lot more about what that transition is, but I think probably most people have a pretty good idea what we're talking about. The future is not like the past, and there's a lot of work to be done.
It is.
It
Yeah?
is.
And it's a great metaphor for what are we facing.
Right. All right, so we will talk to you next time. Join us for episode 1, where we start to dig into the problems of unsustainability. All right, join us next time. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is the part of the podcast where I try to convince you to take action. By action, I mean I want you to go to the Transition Engineering website and have a look around. The Global Association for Transition Engineering has been launched, and we have a professional group you can look into joining. But for right now, I would really appreciate it if you would go to www.transitionengineering.org and just have a look at what we've got there, what we think transition engineering means, and what this group of people are trying to do. I think you will find it really interesting. There are things to learn there. There are people to meet and things to do. And I hope to see you again soon.